thanks for the question. I've got an idea, and for anyone else watching, here's the context for this one. So Peggy has a monthly list that needs to be sent to like a third-party fulfillment house. These are subscribers or members, and like somebody else is responsible for some task on a monthly basis for the people who are in good standing. So we need that to happen each month, but we want to be able to automatically remove or extract the people who maybe are not in good standing. So if they've fallen behind on their payments, or they have an overdue balance, or any number of exceptions, right? So here is the scenario. So let's trigger this campaign when the subscriber tag is found, right? So whatever the member tag is that indicates they are a member. And then we're going to have just sort of a holding tank until whatever the day of the month is that you want this to process, right? So I'll use a delay timer. We could actually set the beginning part to no delay, and then we'll choose day of the month. And let's just say it's the first of the month, right? But it could be whatever day you want this thing to process. And you probably want to choose a specific time. So let's do, at 6 a.m. or something like that, right? You can choose when you want this to actually process. And that's this is important. That's actually the only thing we want to have happen in this first sequence. And then the second sequence, we want to actually send the list to the fulfillment house. So notify third-party fulfillment house or fulfillment group or whoever is responsible for that, right? And then in this sequence, we want to use a fulfillment list. So this is a feature that's in Max Classic. If you're in Max or Pro, then you probably wouldn't have this. But the beauty of a fulfillment list is that normal campaign steps process per individual, right? So if you use an email item, it sends one email for each contact. But fulfillment lists can, batch things together. And so if you have 100 contacts rather than 100 emails, it could send one fulfillment list with all of the 100 people on it, right? And so you would want to set this up. You can have it go to an internal user, but it sounds like in this case you would want it to go to a third party. So you could choose other there, and then you can pop in the information of where it's going. You can update the description. You can include attachments like instructions for what you want them to do. And then you can also modify what fields they need, right? So remove any information that is not important to them. If they need the address, you can include that. You can add custom fields here if there's information that needs to be included in this fulfillment process. But basically, you're modifying the spreadsheet that is going to be sent when this step is triggered. And then set this to ready as well. And then, I'm going to use a third sequence here. And this will be delay 24 hours, right? And what we'll do here is just use a 1-day delay or 2-day delay is fine. And then we'll use this add to sequence step. And I don't know if we can actually set this up yet because we haven't published this campaign, but the goal is going to be to put them back into that holding tank, right? So I don't think this is going to show up because, the campaign is not on this list because I have not yet published. But this item here, the way we would use it is to plug them back into this first sequence. And the reason we want that 24-hour or 48-hour delay is so that this, just so that it doesn't run twice at 6 a.m., right? It doesn't loop them through more than once at 6 a.m. The risk is pretty low for that just because of the time it would take for them to process all the way through. But the risk is much higher if you have this set to a range, between 6 and 7 a.m. or something like that. So that's why we have that delay. So this is sort of the normal structure. The way that we would handle cancels, if people cancel their membership, we would want to pull them out of this process. So this would be cancel tag, right? If they cancel, we would want to terminate this entire process so that they don't loop between these three sequences. And the way that we would handle failed payments or people who were suspended or had paused their membership is something like this. So bypass track. And we're going to use a decision diamond to look for those tags and just pass them through, right? So you don't need any actions in here. The whole function of this bypass track is just that it is not this one, and it gives us this decision diamond. So in this decision diamond, you would want to say, you know, if the contacts tags, you know, doesn't contain, and then you would have your failed payment tag or your suspended tag, put them in the normal fulfillment. But if the contacts tags do contain, you know, failed payment or suspended, etc., then we want to put them in the bypass track. So the way that this would work is when somebody subscribes, they'll immediately sit right here until whatever day it wants to fulfill. And at that point, it's going to use this decision diamond to check, are they in good standing? If they are, they're going to go into the list that goes to the fulfillment house. And if they aren't, they're going to go into the bypass track where they'll skip this month and then they'll go into the queue. They'll both end up in this queue and then they'll loop back to here for the next month. I guess I should say we also want to make sure that we are removing people from this sequence when they hit that step. So I'll just publish this campaign briefly here so that we can configure that element, but that is effectively the campaign structure that we are going for. It should work. I think based on the information that Peggy had provided, it should give you what you're after here. But let's do the Peggy loop question, holding tank, remove, and there you have it. So if they, at any point in this process, get the cancel tag, it'll pull them out. Otherwise, this central section should loop, and this detour, I like detour better than bypass, detour track will prevent them from going into that particular month's fulfillment process if they are in, have a balance or have missed the payment or have fallen out of good standing somehow. So Peggy or anyone else who is watching this, I hope this answers your question, gives you some ideas. If I missed something, feel free to add some clarifying detail, or if you see other uses or applications for this, I would love to hear it. But that's it. Thanks for watching.